and I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah.
And we're live. Can we get a?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Let me. Yeah, and can we get a thorough test of audio for me?
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, and then we'll check that. Let me.
We are live. It says.
And we should be getting good audio.
Pulling it up right now.
Let me. Yeah, and can we get a thorough test of audio for me? I think that's gonna.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, and then we'll
Yeah,
check
that
that.
sounds good.
Let me.
We are live. It says.
All right, cool. Well, this is us. It's 4:30. I'll grab that. We're starting the show.
We're waiting for JP to call.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're only dropping like 60% of our frames. How does that look on the live stream? Is it like a noticeably bad? I think we're cooking. I think we're ready to go. How bad does it look? Pretty. It's not terrible. It's better. We did a show a couple weeks ago where we dropped 93% of our frames.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It's all right.
Guys, don't worry. This is only temporary. The new studio is coming. We're excited. We just got the chairs. We went home. We were all in Jackson for the weekend, and we went to a consignment store and found two very nice chairs. Very excited. So we had a fire. Do you want to talk about our weekend a little bit while we wait?
I was gonna wait for JP to get here because he was part of the weekend.
He was here for the weekend.
So
me and you played angle ball. JP wasn't there for that.
that's true. We did. I went 2-1.
You did.
You went.
I found out
1-3.
So I've been told that one of our summer shows has to be explaining angle ball because there are going to be we reference it so much that eventually we're going to have listeners who aren't our 8 friends that play with us. But for now, it's just y'all. It will never be anything more than a fun game. It will never be like an actual sport, but it's so fun. It's just there's too many ticky-tack rules and calls that it just would not be possible to referee. So, what else? I start my new internship tomorrow, I think. It's going to be part-time remote, so I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like. I'm going in to meet with my boss in person just to kind of get some instruction. So that's exciting, but it is part-time, which means I have other 20 hours a week for that and then 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week for the podcast. I've got to start designing our studio, getting ready to decorate it. We've got some people who are going to help us build the backdrop. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, you did.
All right, we're not going to talk about it on air because it's going to be a secret and a surprise, and it's going to look awesome. But, yeah, I'm super excited for that. Bro, where's JP at, bro?
He's taking a sweet time.
I don't think I can't hear you. I couldn't hear you over the headset.
He's taking a sweet time.
There we go. Jack just back here like this.
Well, I'm tied into the wall, so.
Oh, you are. Is there not an outlet right there? There is.
Sick.
I got you.
I think he's watching softball, but I'm like, we're live. You can watch while we're recording if you really need to.
He is probably watching softball if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just give a quick shout out. We're not going to go into depth, but shout out Friday.
Why did he face? There we go.
Well, we'll talk about Friday later. Friday was a great day.
What's up, JP? You're not, hold on.
Yeah, give us a sec to get JP.
Say something now.
Hello?
Yeah.
It didn't automatically connect you to the Bluetooth, so you're just coming through my phone. What's going on in softball?
Baker.
I mean, I saw it's tied in the top of the 7th.
It was 4-2, top of the 7th. UCLA was down to the last out, one on first.
This is still
Chick hits a home run, runs around the bases. She misses home plate on her first pass, and then a teammate forces her to go back and touch home, and now they're reviewing it to decide whether or not she was assisted in touching home plate.
I didn't even know that was a rule.
No,
by someone who was not in the play, which is illegal.
Yeah, she's got to be out there.
Which would mean it was 4-3 with now 2 outs instead of a tie game.
She's
that's
cooking.
Insane.
That's a rod and egg.
That's like if
right
a third baseman helps like if a player's tripping and the third base coach like picks him up and like pushes him
This
down
is-
the line.
So
Sure.
earlier in this game, the first inning, there was a infield fly rule called in the first inning. Tennessee was in the field, and one of UCLA's runners ran off the field and ran into the dugout, and so she became the third out, like unknowingly, when she was actually supposed to be safe, and it ended the first inning, and they had 2 runners on with 1 out.
So smart baseball is just not being played, or smart softball.
Not by
sorry.
UCLA at all.
That's tough. Do we want to start the show, or are we gonna chill for a few more? Well, you said it's the top of the 7th.
As soon as the call is made here, I'm gonna
Lock in.
hop in the car and I'll be ready to go.
Oh, are you headed north?
Yeah,
Okay, awesome.
but I'll be on the phone.
Sounds good. Man, let's see if we can get this game going in the background. I made sure that I'm really excited to be in the studio
Shame in the
because
bag.
the technical difficulties the past couple episodes have been tough.
Yes, not great.
But now everything should be pretty good, if not great. How long does it take them to how long have they been reviewing it?
This is 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Interesting. I wonder what there is to review.
Well, it's a lot of it has to be interpretation of the rules
Yeah.
because this is kind of a weird scenario.
Yeah, no,
That's what at least the announcers are saying.
not something you see every day.
Yeah. And I mean, me and Jack were talking about interpretation of the rules yesterday because we were talking about the Oregon guy.
hmm
So that was that. Yeah, it's made a lot of appearances, but that happens when you have a lot of baseball and softball being played in a weekend. You're
Oh.
going to see something you've never seen.
I'm sure the girl
There's
get.
live camera footage of the exact people and their faces that are making the call right now. This is crazy. That dude's face is on ABC right now. That's crazy. He decides their fate.
Wait, is this if this is an out, is it third out and the game is over?
No, there'd be 2 outs.
2 outs, okay.
No, it would if it's an out, it's their third out.
Oh, you're saying there already were 2 outs. Gotcha.
There already were 2 outs. Yes. Call on the
Misinterpreted
field
what you
was
said.
safe at home. Call on the
Dang.
field was safe at home tie game.
Interesting. Select broadcast. Come on, ESPN.
Your computer's probably doing too much.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and watch this. It's too much for my I don't trust my computer to be able to do all that. If I had my iPad charged, we could have that going, but I do not. How long was that Oregon review? 15 minutes?
I wasn't watching. I didn't know how long it was.
Okay, it was a hot second. It was nothing like Mississippi State Georgia last season, 45 minutes to Birmingham, but it was still a doozy. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Jack, can you check the live stream for me?
It may be tough
I
because
saw the notification, so
Yeah, I mean, I know we got the notification. I'm getting some error notifications in the YouTube Studio app.
well, we're about to get cursed audio because we
Oh,
have
just
JP
turn
through,
your- Oh yeah.
but we're not gonna be able to hear.
Jack, can you check the live stream for me? Yeah, we're good.
okay.
It may be tough
I
because
saw the notification.
Cool. All right. I don't know why I'm getting the error notifications. Are they still? They're still reviewing.
I mean they could review this for another 20
Yes.
minutes.
Yeah. Da 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 da. Man, I can't even scroll Twitter because my phone is being used as a camera. What am I supposed to do, bro?
Can you not scroll Twitter on your computer?
I don't know if my computer can do that right now.
That's tough.
I'm gonna keep it as free as possible so that we don't run into any issues. I want this to go smoothly. Remind me to start the recording when we play the intro song for the actual podcast for Spotify.
Will do.
But yeah, other than that, we're just kind of chilling, waiting for this softball thing to happen. JP, we got to talk about the weekend, Fire weekend. There were some goat cookies eaten. I know that.
There was one goat cookie eaten.
Was there?
Yeah,
Who? Which one?
Messi.
Yes.
The
you're right.
Curry and Drew Brees cookies are not goat cookies. They're all-time greats.
True.
But
They're legends, not necessarily goats.
yeah,
JP, would you consider Slate Alford a Mississippi State legend?
No.
Really?
But just
wasn't
think-
he a part of the team that beat Ole Miss in 2022?
Yeah. Did he have a hit in that series?
I bet he did. Let's go back and look.
I'm just saying that
bet he
he's going to be a name, a state name that, like, state fans are going to remember his name for years and years and years,
They will.
whether good or bad.
It's such a great baseball name. I mean, we upgraded with Ace Reese, but Slate Alford is a fire baseball name. You said he's in year 4, so I think he spent his first year or 2 years.
I think it's
here.
first 2 years.
So let's check that sophomore. That'd be 25 is senior, 4 is junior. Let's check 25.
Yeah, he spent 2 years at state.
Okay. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the call.
Oh boy, here we go.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Ref is getting an earful right now of whatever the explanation is.
By which coach?
No, by like the replay review room.
Oh, they're like talking to him through the earpiece.
Yeah. Hand to Mike to turn it on. Mike not on yet. Mike on. How about that?
What?
Wow.
Two for 4.
Oh wait. hold on.
Okay. So call upheld on the field. The runner missed home plate and was assisted. And I quote, however, that play cannot be reviewed according to Appendix G. So we went deep in the rule book.
So they basically said, yeah, we got it wrong, but there's nothing we can do about it.
yeah.
Crazy.
That is just stupid. So
At that point, they shouldn't even have admitted that she was assisted.
yeah.
So that's going to
lie.
go over
Just
really
lie.
well.
Just lie. Okay.
Wow.
Shout out the appendix of the softball rulebook.
Yeah, true. Do we want to wait for JP to get in the car before we start?
Yeah.
JP, I
Yeah,
got some rough news for you. Mississippi State legend Slate Alford went 2 for 4 in Game 2 of Mississippi State versus Ole Miss in 2023. So,
Is that a game we won?
yes, it is.
And scored a run.
He did also score a run. What was the final score of that game?
Bulldog
8-7, the game-winning run. Without him, Mississippi State loses that game. We fire Chris Lemonis, and we then go on to hire Jim Schlossnagle from Texas A&M, and we are now going into our 3rd straight College World Series.
Yeah.
All because Slate
Well,
Alford went 2 for 4. That's a Mississippi State
He
legend
would have left
right
you
there.
for Texas, which, I mean,
Probably. Oh, man.
I know I already told you, but the fact he said gig 'em live on air today
Yeah,
was
we
really
need to talk
funny.
about that. Did you hear about that, JP?
What?
Jim Schlossnagle was like signing off of a midseason interview and accidentally said gig 'em. He said gig 'em,
When
hook 'em.
Did he do it today?
Yeah, today.
That'd be
So
like
was
Jeff
it po-
Levy saying hotty toddy.
Yeah. It's a bad look. Like, it's a really bad look. And also,
That's
it's funny
crazy.
because Texas actually has no fans there today. So everyone was like,
Really?
man, Jim
They're in
Schlossnagle's
elimination,
just,
right?
yeah, thinking about the fact of what he's missed out on at A&M.
Yeah. Is there a world where you take him back?
No.
Never.
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
I mean, that's how what I would say about a Dan Mullen or a. Trying to think of.
But see, a lot of people would have taken Dan Mullen back.
I wouldn't now.
A lot of people in our kind of yapping group would have taken Dan Mullen back.
That's crazy.
I think
Okay, maybe
JP
I
would have taken Dan
I think,
Mullen back.
I think that I think,
definitely would have taken Dan Mullen back.
That's what I thought.
yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I would have. I definitely would have taken Vic Schaefer back. Oh, I would have given my left pinky toe to get Vic Schaefer back.
That's a bold take right there, Sanders.
I would cut off my left pinky toe to have Vic Schaefer be the head coach of our women's basketball.
All right, cut your left pinky toe off then, and he'll be back.
Promise.
Promise.
All right, guys. Tune in next week. We will be doing a live pinky toe removal. We've got some pre-nursing friends that could be sure it's safe and stuff, but I would
can't hurt that bad. There's not that many nerves.
Yeah. Like, I'm not even that worried about the pain, but, like, isn't there a thing where, like, if you cut off one toe, it, like, ruins your balance?
I don't know.
I'd be concerned about my...
do, like, a scientific analysis of Jack's, like, running stride and then see if, like, the pinky toe holds any effect. Because, some people, like, run on the inside of their feet.
Oh, true. I definitely run the outside of my feet. If you look at how my cleats tie, it's the outside of the shoe every time. I'm a big
I run
outside.
on my big toes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That was the first thing I always wore out when I would.
Yeah, my big toe
basketball
goes
shoes.
goes first too. So
Yeah.
like I have no padding in my cleats where my big toe rests. Everywhere else is fine, but my big toe has a hole it sinks into.
Interesting.
This tried on the suit today, right?
Yeah.
So they could do alterations as needed.
Fire.
Yeah, pants need to be dropped a little bit. But he said half an inch. So
That seems fair.
yeah,
And that's the shirt you'll be wearing?
yeah, that is the shirt. I'll be wearing the maroon long sleeve
Yeah, this
underneath
shirt.
it.
That's kind of a fire fit. Just a maroon long sleeve tee with a suit jacket.
Much better suit than I wore last night. It felt so much better.
Is JP you on the road? Is that a vehicle or a?
Is that what you can hear?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll switch it up on my head.
Oh no, it was not that loud. It was just like a tiny little bit. It's not that.
Yeah,
bad.
I can't hear it anymore, so you need to keep it
Okay,
as
that's
is.
good.
Yeah. Don't worry about changing
All right,
it.
we'll see. We'll see how it sounds as soon as I hit 45. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, that is true. That's what really matters. I guess you're just gonna be on the natches a lot.
No, I don't touch the natches going back.
Jack, are you getting the in the headset?
No, I'm not hearing anything
Oh,
from him.
that's just me. Let me check all my. It's gone.
Cool.
Right.
I think we're ready.
I'm ready.
Cool.
All right.
Whenever.
Let me get ready and.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Technical Foul Podcast. As always, you're here with the three of us. I'm Jack Anderson, here with Sanders Oakley in studio, and JP is calling in. He's currently on the road back to good old Okolona, Mississippi. If you know, you know. I was going to ask, as always, how's y'all's weekend been? But we actually were together this weekend. Went to a wedding. Shout out to the Custers.
True. Avid listener.
Yeah, avid listener. But yeah, shout out to the Custers, the newlyweds. It was a fun wedding, a great wedding. It was a very precious and wholesome wedding. I had a ton of fun. I think you all did too. And there was a lot of state baseball and just baseball in general.
Yeah.
From the college regionals going on this weekend, as well as a Pacers-Knicks game. And we'll get into all of that on the show. But anything else y'all want to talk about from over the weekend, or any shout-outs y'all want to give?
No, I mean, we were talking earlier off air. It was an awesome time. The wedding was super. It was in Jackson. I'm from Jackson, so it was cool to be able to. It was like a weird combination of worlds because like I was at home and one of our friends stayed with us, and so he was just like vibing at my house.
Yeah.
So that was super cool. I got to go to church this morning, so it was cool to be home and then get to celebrate them. So yeah, it was an awesome weekend.
I would say I've been meaning to mention this for 3 weeks, but I just keep forgetting about it whenever Jack asks, like, is there something you want to mention? Fox did this weird thing 3 weeks ago where for like the entire week they started talking about the Kansas City Chiefs as America's team, like they had replaced the Cowboys.
That's crazy.
And this was on literally every single Fox show throughout the day. Like Cowherd did it, Nick Wright and First Things First did it, even Acho and their show was talking about it. and I haven't seen this from any other network whatsoever. So I don't know what and who created this narrative. I'd have to assume Nick Wright because of his Chiefs fandom, but it's really weird to see.
Yeah, it's a bad look for them. It's just not factual whatsoever. Seems like there's some collusion behind the scenes there from all of
their main claim was just like, oh, now the young fan in their early 20s is a Chiefs fan.
Cap.
And I mean, Sanders, I think that would be the best example of someone who's in their 20s who doesn't have a fandom of a specific team. Are you a fan of the Chiefs?
No.
Would you say you dislike the Chiefs more than you did 5 years ago?
Yeah, I'd say so. I really like definitely. Now that I think about it, like 2018 Chiefs with Tyreek and a young Travis and this young upstart Patrick Mahomes, when they were like cooking that Monday Night Football game against the Rams in 2019, not 18.
Electric.
7. No,
I think it was
19,
18.
19.
It was 19. Okay.
I don't know. It was in that
late
2010s. Electric. I had that game marked on my calendar for weeks because they how ESPN does their, this coming Monday, watch this Monday Football game. They were doing that commercial for weeks. It was like a huge game. So, I liked the Chiefs then. I'm not a huge fan of them now.
It's a bad claim. I didn't see any of that though. I'm not the biggest Fox guy when it comes to my sports news. It's not really where I'm turning first. So
I watch them for the NBA. They're really good, specifically Chris Broussard.
Sure.
Great analysis. They're definitely the best out of they are infinitely better than ESPN and Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. and the Morris twins.
Well, yeah,
and
I'm not
because the TNT guys, they only talk about it after the game.
Yeah.
So Fox is kind of my go-to there.
You got to find something, that's for sure. I'm not turning to ESPN either. And Chris Broussard isn't bad. It's more so the other shows with Emmanuel Acho is kind of a bona fide clown. Yeah, Colin Cowherd, not the biggest fan of him either. Other guys, just I don't know. Not really it. Do we want to go NBA and then college baseball is what I was thinking for the show?
Yeah, I'm down. I don't have a graphic for it. I was going to try and make it real quick while we talk, but we can just do without the graphic. It's not that deep.
Yeah, I don't really think it matters too much. If you want to cook one up for the finals preview,
well, that's what I was going to do. Oh, we're
gonna start with the Knicks Pacers
awesome.
Game 6.
Do that, yes, do that, and then I'll just make something real quick for the.
So last night we only have this one game to talk about, really. Well, I guess Game 5 happened as well, but I don't really have too much to say on that because the series is closed at this point. But Game 6, Knicks Pacers was last night. The Pacers won at home to send the Knicks packing. Just an all-around, solid game from their players. Tyrese was pretty solid. Andrew Nembhard, who had a rough series, I thought played really well last night. Especially when you're still you have a banged up Neesmith, you got to get minutes and you got to find someone that can guard Brunson. I think he really stepped up in that regard. Thomas Bryant out of nowhere is giving you good minutes, hits 3 threes, decides he's a shooter. Pascal Siakam has been phenomenal this whole series, really, outside of Game 1. And he gives you 31, and he actually won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. I don't know if I agree with that, but he definitely had a pretty good case. But he gave you, like I said, 31, and then everyone else just chipped in. And on the Knicks side of things, not Jalen Brunson's best game from a scoring output standpoint, only 19 points. But it really came back down to their defense. It wasn't really their scoring, but they just couldn't get stops. Me and my brother-in-law Grant were talking about it, but they put Tyrese Halliburton back in it at the 9:18 minute mark in the fourth quarter, and they scored on every possession for the next 6 minutes. The first possession they didn't score was on an Andrew Nembhard turnover with 3 minutes and 4 seconds left. And so when you already have a 10-point lead and then you go on a 6-minute stretch where you score every time down the court, there's just no avenue for the Knicks to really make a comeback in that game. Because they couldn't get stops. Their transition defense wasn't good enough. But congrats to the Pacers. I'm happy they're moving on. They're a really fun team to watch. Hopefully it makes for an interesting finals. I don't want to talk too much about that because we're going to have it's our own segment about that. But what are your thoughts on the game, JP? I don't know how much you really got to watch because, like we said, we were at a wedding last night. So I only got to catch kind of the back half of the game.
I went back and watched the first half.
Okay.
And caught up on everything. It was like Game 5. Like I gave the playbook, the plan that they needed to execute, and they execute that in Game 5.
Sure.
They hold the Pacers under 105. No one goes for 30, and then you come back to Game 6 and Siakam goes for 30, and you don't hold him under 105. So kind of the issue there. Again, you had like to stop the Pacers. You just can't outscore them.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to defend them and force them to turn the ball over. It'll be a huge reason that I'm gonna pick the Thunder when we talk about the NBA Finals. But yeah, I didn't have the exact number on that, but I remember watching that 6-minute stretch. It was just, I mean, it's just insane. That as just a stat of the game is incredible. 6 straight minutes, no turnovers, and scoring every single time. Yeah, you're just not winning any game if you're going to allow a team to do that, or a team does that against you.
Sure.
It felt like for New York that, I don't know, it just, I think the depth was again the issue. And I talked about this in the last episode. Like, I felt like if the season ended and they didn't make the NBA Finals, they were going to have to make a change, and I feel that way right now.
Well, even
Tom Thibodeau can return.
He may looking. So there's something I really wanted to bring up and want to get your opinion on it. And since you brought that up, immediately post game we pivoted to, okay, Cat's going to be the scapegoat. Looking at all the reports coming out, basically like Knicks players and coaches were repeatedly frustrated with Cat's execution of their defensive schemes and coverages and stuff, and his kind of seeming indifference to like playing defense. Like it was like, oh, he didn't think defense is important enough. So I could see actually a world where Thibodeau does return if they're going to just scapegoat Cat and try and get rid of Cat this summer. But yeah.
But didn't they just go get him like a year ago?
Yeah, I mean they did, but I mean it's kind of it's a business move, and if
Yep.
they're going to decide one they don't like playing with Cat and they don't think Cat and Brunson can work, you're going to keep Brunson. And then also if he really has just kind of been this guy that's frustrated them defensively, and he's never really been known as a good defender, and we saw it at times this series too. They may try and move on from him. I don't think it's a great summer to try and have to move on from him, but they're kind of setting themselves up to have to, in my opinion.
I don't feel like that's the right move, in my opinion. I thought Cat this season was extraordinary. He was a guy who literally every single night he was giving you 20-odd-something points and 12-plus rebounds. And that is not something that's just repeatable by anybody.
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson is never going to put up those kinds of numbers. And for me, it felt like in the playoffs, he was extraordinary as well. In the Boston Celtics series, he kind of struggles, but he was pretty critical in Game 6. And then in the Detroit series and in this series, like, he is the reason they win Game 3. In the Detroit series, he's the reason they win multiple games in that series. It's just, in my opinion, it just felt like it was a bad matchup. And it was a bad matchup because the Knicks, with the way they're coached and built to play, they're never going to be able to compete with this Pacers team because they don't have the speed to keep up with them and to outscore them, or the defensive stoppers that can shut them down if Brunson and Cat are your two best players and they're just not great defensively.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's the right move either. To me, it just seems they very quickly, like, that's the, like, you know, PR/media position they decided to push out and, like, make themselves. Like, that's how they decided to position themselves to the media, is like, oh, Cat was the issue.
Personally, I hate that because, like, what is Karl Anthony Towns not done that Tom Thibodeau has done?
Sure.
And Tom Thibodeau has a longer career, a longer head coaching career, and it's not just one stop as well. It's been shown every single place he's ever been that his philosophy works to be competitive, but it doesn't necessarily work to win titles.
He's a floor raiser, but he's really never going to get you over the hump. I don't disagree, and I don't necessarily like it either, especially the timing of it. It was like they almost hadn't even, like, the game had just ended. The Knicks, the Finals MVP or the Conference Finals MVP hasn't even presented yet, and already Twitter's being flooded with reports of kind of Cat being the issue, and it just seems unfair, especially just that quick, that they were, like, basically ready to throw him under the bus. And that's why I'm almost like they're going to end up, if that narrative continues, they're going to find themselves in a position where they almost have to trade him, because it's a hard thing to come back from. To hear that, like, oh, all my teammates think I basically am the reason we couldn't get over the hump. Like, what are you going to do? And then I mentioned earlier that, I mean, we've pretty quickly got into Knicks offseason stuff. But I don't really know if it's the best summer to trade for Cat to be on the trade market in terms of Knicks getting returning value. Which he had a great season, and so surely that helps value. But cap space is such an issue right now, and I don't think anyone. Now we've seen teams make dumb moves before, but I feel like any smart team is going to realize that you can't build around Cat to win a finals. And so, like, why would someone like Brooklyn, who does have the cap space, decide to trade for Cat? It doesn't really match up with their timeline. Like I said, he can't be your key piece, so that doesn't make sense. And then if there's any team that's truly desperate for a star, Cat's not going to be the first place you turn, because they're going to look to try and get Giannis from the Bucks or even Durant from the Suns as better options. So I don't know. I'm just interested to see how that plays out throughout the offseason. We're getting some really weird buzz at times.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is.
I don't know what it is either, because it keeps coming and going. So every time I look to pinpoint where it's coming from, it's like it's gone. But yeah.
And I feel like destinations fits for him. It makes sense in Minnesota. I know that's crazy, right?
Yeah, that's insane.
You traded for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. I think like him in LA would be kind of hilarious. You could trade LeBron for Cat. That about works out cap space wise.
Yeah, I don't see the Lakers doing that.
Go
but
under the philosophy of let's try to score 135 a night with Luka, Austin Reeves, and Karl Anthony Towns. The KD trade doesn't make any sense to me, because there's no reason, in my opinion, there's no reason for Phoenix to bring in Cat, like you were saying. And so, like, why would they trade away KD as well? They need to trade KD and try to get some young guys, which is why a KD trade to, like, Houston or even Oklahoma City makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
No, you got it. I was just going to kind of throw in an add-on, so finish your thought.
No, yeah, I think you run it back and fire Thibodeau. That's what I would do. Bring in a different head coach. I don't have one off the top of my head, but I think that's the move. I think you have to build depth, and that is kind of that's the way to win a championship now. At least we've seen in this era that you need depth. You need more than 5 guys. You need 7 guys, 8 guys. And you think of all your previous champions. Boston had roughly 9 guys.
Mm-hmm.
The Nuggets had 8 guys at that time with Bruce Brown and Christian Braun off the bench. And even prior to that, you think of the Golden State Warriors. They were Steph Curry and then a bunch of other guys, Draymond and Clay, and Poole was great, but you had Otto Porter Jr. that played big minutes. Kevon Looney was massive that entire playoff series. That's kind of the way to go right now. And for them, if they were going to stay with 5, it needs to be 5. It needs to be 3 superstars and 2 stars, realistically, for it to work. And they just don't have that. So I think you fire Thibodeau, and maybe you make a move and try to get some depth. You're not going to have any issue signing free agents, even free agents to a veterans minimum, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that would be the route I would go down personally with New York.
It's
And I think you have to attack this next season. Like,
the East is
this
wide
is
open.
our final chance to win a championship because Jason Tatum's hurt. Good chance Giannis isn't there anymore. And Cleveland's got a lot of questions. So, like, there's no reason in their eyes they shouldn't be the number one seed in the East a year from now.
No, that's fair. I completely agree. Like, with the way the East is shaping up and how weak it is, if you're on the fence about blowing it up or giving it one more shot, why not give it one more shot? I mean, there were 2 games away this year from making the finals, so it does feel really drastic to just trade Cat after 1 year. I'm just calling it how I see it online and how the kind of the media and the insiders have already begun kind of pushing this narrative. I feel like I've seen this kind of play out before. If the move is to fire Tom Thibodeau, I feel like we'll know that sooner rather than later. You know, you typically don't wait weeks to fire a coach after the end of your season. Is a couple day or a week type thing. So I guess we'll find out about that once again sooner rather than later. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this game played out how a lot of all the Pacers wins really do is just transition points. They win the turnover battle. Then the Knicks couldn't stop them. I don't really have tons to say on it. It just felt like kind of more of the same, looking back at the other Knicks losses in this series.
Yeah, and this is just one that didn't have the crazy comeback.
Correct.
This is just one where the Pacers kind of led the entire way.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a thing, too, of like, for the Knicks to keep with the Pacers, it always relied on Jalen Brunson a lot. Cat was actually pretty good down the fourth, in my opinion, scoring-wise, which is unfair to Brunson because he had a phenomenal playoffs, but he didn't have it last night. And it would have taken something special from him to keep them in the game, in my opinion. So I'm kind of good to go ahead and move on to the finals preview. It sounds weird because that was a short recap, but I don't know. I'm ready.
Yeah, I as well. We'll break it down even deeper on Wednesday's show.
Sure.
Specifically talking about Game 1, but let's go through some.
We'll give a general
some big
preview.
Picture things right now. Yeah.
While y'all do this, I'm going to set my portable monitor up and put the state baseball game on, so it's going on the background, and then it'll just be here.
Okay,
But
that's fine.
I'm gonna step off camera to grab that. So take it away, Thunder versus Pacers.
Yeah. General thoughts, like as the Pacers were wrapping up their game last night, and I was looking forward to the finals. Kind of what I expected to happen, or like what I hope happens. First off, I'm really scared that as fun and as good as this Pacers team is, that OKC is just a different animal, and that the finals is kind of going to fall flat as a matchup. Because we've seen the Pacers all playoffs and really all season, or at least post or the turn of the new year. They've played this really fast-paced offense that's so fun to watch, and they do it somehow while limiting turnovers, and therefore, like, they win the turnover battle, which is huge, and it gives them even more fast break opportunities and you know, more easy looks. And a credit to them, they execute it phenomenally, but this OKC defense is just different. And so I'm just worried, like we've seen multiple teams run into this issue, this playoffs, is like, oh, wow, this is a good team, but scoring on OKC, it doesn't really matter if you're a good team, honestly. It's something that's really, really hard to do. So I'm a little worried, like, it's a contrast of styles, but in my brain, initial analysis, I trust OKC's really stout defense that just, with ball pressure and forces all these turnovers. I don't know. I trust that a little more than this Pacers offense, which I don't want to make it sound like I'm dogging on the Pacers. This Pacers run has been phenomenal. It's been a ton of fun, and they deserve all the credit for the style of offense they're running and their execution of it because no one has stopped it up to this point. So, but that was kind of my biggest initial thought, was just kind of the contrast of styles and how that was going to play out, which has been the huge talking point as we've kind of seemingly come to realize that this probably was going to be the inevitable matchup in the finals.
This sounds a lot like what we were saying a week and a half ago, previewing the Western Conference Finals with the Timberwolves and the Thunder, where, yeah, like, the Timberwolves are a really great team, really great story, but they're just not to the level of
Sure.
OKC. They played twice this season. Thunder won both games. and they won both games playing the Pacers' way. In the two games, the Thunder scored 136 points and 124 points.
Yeah.
In those two games, the Pacers scored 106 and 111, I believe. So this is a Thunder team, and I feel this way even without hearing that. They are going to be able to play their style of basketball without an issue. They are a team that can turn you over, and they score a ton and gain a lot of momentum off those turnovers. But they're also what they showed in the Nuggets series and the Timberwolves series. They're really good on the half court too. Shea's really good at finding his spot. J-Dub is great at getting downhill and finishing at the rim. And then Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein's lob threats are very good. And then whoever that fifth guy is,
they seem to hit some shots potentially.
Lou Dort, Caruso, and Cason Wallace have all been hitting threes for much of the postseason. So it'll be they're a complete team. I do think though the Pacers have a good chance to take this deep. I think they've got that kind of moxie behind them.
I agree.
I think this being the second postseason in a row where they're making a deep playoff run with the same core of guys, I think it's going to help them a ton. Now the Thunder are in that same spot as well. This is their second postseason, more of a deep run this time than last time. But I think the Pacers have a little bit of an edge there with the experience. I mean, they have an NBA champion in Pascal Siakam,
who has been great.
He's been Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And for me, he's the X factor of the entire series. In my eyes, he's the only guy that the Thunder don't match up well with defensively. Because I guess I'd put Caruso on him.
I think you have to.
I still think Siakam he's bigger than Caruso. He's going to be able to post up Caruso. He's going to be able to shoot over him. And he is kind of the X factor. So I'm going to go and throw it out right now. For the Pacers to win a game in this series, Siakam has to score 28 plus.
Okay.
And every time he scores 28 plus, I think they have a good chance to win that game.
Yeah,
if he doesn't do that, I just don't see where the scoring comes from for the Pacers, because I don't expect Halliburton to play well against all these guard defenders. And Miles Turner can't even post up Chet Holmgren, in my opinion.
Miles Turner, for how good the Pacers have been this playoffs, he's had a lot of matchups and a lot of games where he's really struggled. And, I mean, even defensively, thinking just about how much Cat feasted on him in the last series, it's pretty worrisome. He honestly had some moments where it was kind of hard for Rick Carlisle to keep him on the court. So I completely agree. It is a weird thing. Like, you can try and put Alex Caruso on Pascal Siakam, and we've seen Caruso have great success with that. But Siakam was feasting on the Knicks' smaller players that are bigger than Caruso. Like if you got a Mikal Bridges or an OG on, if Pascal Siakam got a mismatch on one of those two guys, he had no problem backing them down and hitting a turnaround, above them, and there's just nothing they could do. So I completely agree with that X factor. I hope this is a series where haymakers are thrown from both sides. I feel like both these teams are really good at putting together runs. Just because the Pacers, they play so fast, and they'll just kind of get going. And like you said, that moxie, they kind of get that energy behind them for just kind of multiple runs a series where suddenly they've scored, 18 points in, a few minutes. And then on the other side, OKC does it with their defense where suddenly they've turned you over 4 times in 4 minutes, and they've put together a 12-0 run, and suddenly it feels like you've lost the game and the game's behind you. So I don't know. I really hope it's just a game of runs, but close at the same time, which I know doesn't make a ton of sense. Maybe a game of trading runs, I should say. So
yeah, I think a lot of the games are going to play out that way. I don't necessarily expect a ton of like back and forth trading baskets. I think trading runs is exactly what we're going to see. I think for the other key thing for the Pacers is they've got to limit turnovers, and they're great at doing that. But OKC is the best defense in the league, and I think that's another thing. If the Pacers turn it over 10 or more times, I don't see them winning games that way.
Sure.
Especially if these turnovers are being produced into points at the other end for the Thunder.
I think that's a huge factor. For me, I don't necessarily feel like the Pacers have to play 48 great minutes, and I said that a ton in the Timberwolves series, because they are so good at scoring more points than you could ever imagine in 3 minutes.
Sure.
I think they can play bad for an 8-minute stretch in a game and still be in it.
Yeah.
They're that productive offensively.
They just can't let it spiral, which is they're a team I trust not to do that. I think they have a good mental edge where if OKC puts together a good run, they can bounce back from it. Kind of the opposite of Minnesota, whereas as soon as OKC threw their punch, in the third quarter, it felt like almost every game. They're in the final game, they threw their punch in the first 3 minutes. Minnesota couldn't get up off the mat. And I would like this Pacers team a lot more to get up off the mat. So another thing, too, we've talked a lot about with the Pacers, just talking matchup-wise or just, comparison-wise. They've had depth unlike any other team in the Eastern Conference, and that's really allowed them to play their style very well. Rick Carlisle will play like 10 guys. He'll bring a guy off the bench, and it's like, oh, I didn't even know this guy was in the league. But the Thunder are another really deep team. They have tons of options off the bench. So you're not really going to be able to wear them out like you were able to the Knicks teams. The Knicks team where you got deep in the fourth quarter and you could tell that the Knicks team was gassed, and all the Pacers were pretty fresh. So I'm interested to see, one, how that dynamic plays out, and really how much that was helping the Pacers with their prolific scoring was just being able to wear out other teams. I'm also curious if Rick Carlisle is going to be able to play this many guys against a team that's so good defensively, like OKC. Like, can you trust Thomas Bryant out there to play, more than a couple minutes at a time? Can you trust Ben Shepherd to be safe with the ball, and so he can play more than a couple minutes at a time? Stuff like that is going to be pretty key in this series.
Yeah, those are good points there. For the Thunder side, I think they've just got to play their style of basketball. I think it'll be key for the other two guys not named Shea to provide a punch offensively, because they're going to need it. Like,
yes,
their defense is great, but in the two games that they played, the Pacers got over that 105 mark that I talked about in last episode. And so they're going to need to find that scoring. And I don't think they're going to have a big issue with it.
I agree.
Because there's not necessarily a matchup that is going to shut them down. But the only thing I think that could is the mental aspect.
Sure.
Where this is their first NBA Finals, and this is the biggest moment of their lives, even for like Chet Holmgren, who's played in a lot of huge minutes, who's been, this wonder boy for 6 years now. It feels like that could be the interesting factor. And I said it earlier, but it feels like the Pacers won't necessarily have that problem.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing, as a Thunder guy and a guy who's picked them to win the finals, that's my only question is, are they going to be able to, especially early on in the series, get over that mental edge of this is the NBA Finals?
Yeah.
And I think it's a huge thing too for like the crowds as well. Like that's a huge factor here. I think with the Knicks and their issues so far in the Garden in the last two seasons, it's played a ton in the fact that the Knicks fans are nervous, and you can feel their emotion throughout the entire game. And you can feel like if Cat misses a three, like groans from the entire crowd. There's a turnover, you have groans and shouting. I think it'll be key. Like, not that it's kind of weird saying it as a factor, but I think it's a huge factor for the Thunder that their home court advantage continues to be what it is because the fans continue to be the way that they are, with the utmost confidence in their young players.
Yeah. I agree. That's a good point. We have seen young teams or younger teams just kind of crumble under the pressure. But if I could give some, some support or just props to the Thunder, is anytime we've seen them falter in these playoffs, if J-Dub has had a bad performance or Chet has had a bad performance, they've really done a good job bouncing back and showing resilience in that regard. So I get the worry, but it's not something I'm really too concerned about.
I'm not terribly concerned either, and it comes back again to what I had been saying for much of the playoffs for them, is that this is not your typical young team because they have the pieces of like even Lou Dort, who's played for a long time, and
Yeah.
Caruso, who's been to the NBA Finals, and he's a champion as well. Sorry for not mentioning him earlier with Siakam, but and Hartenstein as well. Like I don't have a lack of confidence, but I do think it's something that could happen, especially in Game 1.
Yeah.
I think there's a really good chance I pick the Pacers to win Game 1 on Wednesday night when we talk about Game 1.
Sure. Yeah, and I think it's something people forget too is the fact that Shea's 27, I believe. So
Yes.
he's a lot older than the other guys. He's no longer a young player. He has a ton of games under his belt, a lot of experience, not necessarily a ton in these big moments. But he's been around the block. You know, he's played a ton of games. He's played on a team with Chris Paul, who people view as a really good mentor. Just because they've gotten really good these past couple years, I feel like sometimes people view him on the same kind of trajectory or timeline as like a Chet or a J-Dub in that kind of mentality and age regard, and that's just simply not the case. So, once again, I'm really hoping we get a fantastic series. It feels like there's definitely a world where we do, but we've just talked about how good this Thunder team is time and time again, and it may just kind of end up being a thing where they just simply are inevitable, and there's just no way to beat them multiple times in a 7-game series, or you not beat them multiple times, but beat them 4 times in a 7-game series, especially since they've got over that Denver Nuggets hump. So.
And they're big favorites in this series. I haven't looked and saw what the line was today, but I believe yesterday they were roughly like minus 1,000 to win this series.
Gotcha.
So
That's
much
insane.
of the public in Vegas agrees as well. It's the biggest one since the Warriors with KD played the Cavs without Kyrie
Yeah.
in that NBA Finals. The Warriors were minus 2,000 favorites. And then you have the infamous J.R. Smith game.
Yeah, LeBron drops
So-
51 in Game 1, and J.R. Smith does his dance.
Yeah, crazy. All-time NBA moment. Inevitable is the word. This team's too damn good. They're two defense with championships, and they are the best defense in the league. And these young guys have really, really risen, and they've all had substantial playoff moments so far in this postseason. I don't see them having much of an issue.
Sure.
I think they're going to win this series in 5 on their home floor. That's kind of how I feel. I do think, though, and I'll say it again on Wednesday, Game 1 is critical to the series. If the Thunder win Game 1, it's over. If the Pacers were to win Game 1, though, I think it's a coin flip.
Sure.
Genuinely, I think the Pacers being able to get up that one game first plays a massive factor going forward in the rest of the series.
Yeah, we've identified the problem with the little bit of static, and it's if I put my phone down on the desk, it gives the static, and I don't know why that's the case, but it is.
I think it's because the static is coming through this thing, and something about it being on the table is messing with your phone connecting to that.
It's just like too close, or I don't know.
It's too close, or it's going through the board.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Figured it out though.
yeah, as for predicting the series, I also I told Harris earlier Pacers, Thunder in 6, but I like Thunder in 5, and the idea of them closing it out on their home court. They really are just too damn good. I mean, they've just been special all season, and they've backed it up these playoffs. So, great run from the Pacers, but I just see it stopping here.
I expect them to win the first 2 games at home, split in Indiana, and win in Game 5 on
Sure.
their home floor.
Sure. Sweet. I think that's all for NBA, unless you want to give out a prediction, Sanders. For
No,
the
I mean,
series.
I'll make my pick. I'll say if I were a betting man, I'd bet on the Thunder, but I'm going to pick the Pacers in 7.
Okay. Good. We no jinx from the Technical Foul Cast.
Correct.
Way to diversify.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably got good odds. I want to see if that's got good odds. I might look at that later today.
Yeah, it probably does have good odds. Not as good of odds if you pick Pacers in 4 or something like that. But do you want to stay on the phone for baseball, JP, or are you looking to head out?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Man, baseball.
You-
Graphic off.
yeah, you can kick it off, Sanders, 'cause I know I've not really watched much at all. I followed along and kind of seen the big storylines.
I have done basically nothing but watch baseball
Sure.
all weekend, except for while we were at the wedding. In our living room in our new house, we had 3 TVs set up for the weekend. We had one on top, 2 underneath, and we were running the primary game on the top screen, 4 games on the bottom right screen, and then my brother was playing Battlefront 2 in the bottom left screen. So we had sensory overload. My mom was like, I cannot do this. She had to keep leaving the room. She was like, there's too much happening. If one of us were to react to something, she'd be like, what TV? What TV do I look at? What's happening? Awesome weekend of baseball. We just had another host seed eliminated. Vanderbilt is now gone. That makes the 4th top 16 team eliminated. They are the first number 1 overall seed ever eliminated from their regional.
The stat I saw was before the regional finals.
Maybe that's what it was.
Before the
My bad.
regional. That also
Yes.
may be true, but I saw
think that's
before the
probably more
regional
likely.
finals.
That's probably more likely. That makes a lot more sense. So it was an awesome weekend. I am on the record with a very hot take. I think I told you about this. I think I might prefer opening weekend of a postseason of baseball over March Madness. I've thought about it a lot. There are a couple things that go into it. A, more games because it's double elimination, so you just get more games to watch. B, there are no rain delays in college basketball, but in college baseball you get rain delays, which means we had a game start Friday night at 10:55 p.m.
Yeah, but just wait until that Mississippi State in that rain delay, and then you're triggered.
I kind of like it. I know
crazy.
it's terrible, but as a fan, I just eat that. I eat the stuff up that forces you to be stupid. Where it's like I shouldn't be staying up till 2 a.m. to watch this baseball game, but I'm going to.
Sure.
It's one of my favorite things ever to just that. I didn't stay up for that game. I stayed up. I'll get to that later. I stayed up for softball that night. But I just love opening weekend of baseball. There's more games. They go later into the night. You go to bed at 2 or 3. You wake up the next morning at 9. You get your breakfast, and then they're going again at 11. I don't know. There's just something about it, dude. I love opening weekend of baseball. It also helps that State is a baseball school.
Sure.
And while we have not been as successful the past couple of years, we've been in the regionals the past 2 years. So it's something. I love it. But Friday was awesome. Let me go pull up some important scores real quick.
Yeah, while I do that, I'll
Go ahead and...
that's your opinion. I think it's a little bit of a crazy opinion to have just because of how special March Madness is, and I do wonder if that opinion has come to light just because of how much of a letdown this past March Madness was. But there's just nothing like making a bracket for March.
Oh,
We lost JP. My SSC connection dropped, so we can wait for him to call back. But I'm just going to keep talking. He can join when he does. But yeah, filling out a bracket, there's just nothing quite like it. And just kind of the magic that is in the air. As much as I love baseball, I still don't really think it holds a candle to March Madness. Then I get your State's a baseball school, and there are just so many games on, but it just doesn't quite have the same feeling for me.
Yeah, and I think another part of it is, I don't know what I was going to say.
Cool. Yeah, something I can bring up is I've seen a lot of talks, unsurprisingly, about people dogging on the SEC for kind of a lackluster showing so far.
Yeah.
Which undeniably has been a lackluster showing from the SEC. Vandy just got eliminated.
Mm-hmm. Texas is in the elimination game.
an elimination game. Georgia just got knocked out of their tournament.
The second, I think that makes 2 or 3 top super regional hosts, top 8 teams to be eliminated. Vanderbilt is gone. Georgia is gone.
Ole Miss is in trouble. I'm trying to think of other teams. Florida's out.
Southern Miss is in their elimination bracket.
Kentucky is still alive, but Alabama's out. So it's just people like to dog on the SEC because it's the top dog conference in college baseball, and if you try and argue that, you're actually insane. If you want to make an argument about football in that regard, I'm willing to listen. I will not listen to an argument where the past 8 champions have come from the SEC or something close like that.
Since 2018 or 19, I think 2019 with Vandy in 2019.
Yeah, and just pure domination in that regard, and send so many teams to Omaha every year. The fact that it may not even be a down year when it's all said and done, and we get to Omaha.
Yeah.
But just dogging on the SEC for having a down start to one regional is just insane. It's people that are just looking for any opportunity to hate because they're jealous of
Let's go
the amount
Ace.
of bids we get and the amount of bids we get and the amount of success we have.
Yeah. Friday was an awesome day for a state fan. Mississippi State baseball won. Ole Miss baseball lost. Ole Miss softball was playing until, I believe, 12:45 in the morning. They went to 10 innings with Oregon softball and an elimination game in the Softball World Series. Me and my brother stayed up to watch that game. Go Ducks. Go Ducks. It was awesome. Getting to watch Oregon. I believe they walked them off.
A walk-off walk? No?
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. It was a walk-off walk. It was so fun. So it was literally, we got a basketball commit that day. On Friday, we got a named Brandon Walker, a forward, I believe, from Montana State. So it was just an awesome day to be a Mississippi State fan. So, like I said, there have been multiple top 8 teams eliminated. Now we've got a couple top 16 teams eliminated. We can talk. Do we want to talk about projections for who's going to win?
Like who we think's going to win the
Champion?
whole thing?
Yeah. Do you have thoughts on that?
I haven't put too much thought into it.
I liked Florida. I think I actually picked Florida to win their regional.
Well, everyone talked about how Florida had got this really easy regional and stuff like that. I really like Auburn to win it all.
Schubert.
That's gone.
Yeah, that's tough. Oh, wait, is that a fence there? Wow.
That doesn't make any sense.
Shout
terms
out
of I
the
can't
tall, invisible fence in right field. That thing clutched up to keep that ball in play.
So JP is not letting me call JP, and it's not letting JP call me. So we are currently down JP.
This baseball game has been crazy. Garrick Fry started the game. This is the second game of the day for Mississippi State, again, a rematch against Florida State after yesterday. Garrick Fry started the game with a solo home run. Florida State proceeds to get out of the first in only 7 pitches,
Okay.
which is, I feel like, to give up a run and still get out of the inning in 7
Yeah,
pitches.
that's pretty quick.
It's pretty impressive. And then Carson Ligon comes out and strikes out in the first inning. I think 2 or 3 guys. I wasn't watching everything. So he's been playing pretty well. I have some, we talked about it at lunch about the starting Sierra.
Oh, he's back.
JP.
Welcome back, JP.
Hold up. I don't think he connected to the thing.
Welcome back, JP. There we go.
All right, there we go. That was weird.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I'm guessing you had no signal.
Well, it was weird because it was saying
No,
that we
I-
weren't available for
Yeah.
him to call, and then when I tried to call him, it was saying he wasn't available for us to call.
Interesting.
So I
I never went off 5G. I was on 5G the whole time.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
happened.
I was just breaking down some of the stuff that's going. So State is up in this game right now, 1-0 in the bottom of the second. The first inning, Garrick Fry hits a leadoff home run, and then Florida State proceeds to get out of the inning in only 7 pitches. So we've got some interesting stuff going on. Carson Ligon is on the mound for Mississippi State. We pitched Sierra this afternoon against Northeastern. He gave up 1 run, and then Nate Williams comes in and hit, I believe, walks 2 guys and then hits a guy. And did we just have a balk?
Yeah, that was very gross.
I was
That
not
one was
watching.
a clear balk.
I wasn't. That's unfortunate. All right, we good.
If they show it again, you'll tell. Sometimes balks aren't very clear,
Oh, yep.
but
yep,
this
yep,
thing is
yep, yep,
pretty
yep.
bad.
That is good save, good try. I love the effort. Do you think he knew as he was doing it? He was like,
Yeah.
"This sucks," but like,
Which is really funny too, because like it wasn't even like the Florida State got broke or anything
No.
to third. So I don't know what he was seeing, but
yeah.
something in his peripheral threw him off.
JP, we were just discussing, like the tournament as a whole. I think I actually picked Florida to win their regional and maybe even their super, just given how hot they were. But they've been eliminated. You have thoughts on? Do you have a favorite, or a team you're looking to watch and see if they can go all the way? Oh, that's a huge strikeout. Let's go, Carson. Let's go.
He's
really like. I'm curious to see how Georgia Tech does if they can finish out the School of North here.
That'd be
because they got a
huge.
lot of boys at BT. So go Jackets. That would be really cool to see. In terms of a team, I don't know. I think the only thing, my biggest takeaway so far this weekend has been, man, I really hope the SEC wins it again, because Twitter has been insufferable about a lot of our higher seeds losing.
Yeah,
Or
I talked
teams
about that while you
losing
were
games in general.
off of
And
off the grid.
it's, yeah, for me, it is shut up. You haven't won
Facts.
a championship yet, so you can't really say anything. Yeah, that's the only thing I'm kind of cheered for right now, is that continues, because for me, it's really cool. Like, even if it's these teams that you don't like, in some cases, I think
Watching
makes-
dominance is fun.
yeah, and it makes the weekend SEC play like that more important and awesome and fun, because you know you're playing the best of the best. It's how I feel watching SEC baseball. It's just, we're playing the best of the best every single weekend.
It's also
and that's really, really cool.
people are just jealous. They're looking for any reason to hate, like I said earlier. And the SEC has completely earned the benefit of the doubt in baseball. Whereas, yeah, we maybe have had a slow start to this regional group as a whole. But we've earned the right to get this many teams in, and look at the success we've had. So it's just crazy to me that people are acting like the SEC was handed this on a silver platter when this is something we've earned.
We just had a head coach ejected.
It's actually insane that he just, it is so stupid that he just got thrown out. It's ridiculous.
That he got thrown out, or that he went out there.
That he let himself get thrown
Yes,
out.
okay. I was about to say.
I don't know what
agree.
the FSU head coach, I don't know what he did or what he said, because we kind of came into it in the middle of it. So I
Yeah.
don't actually know if he should have been thrown out. I'm just saying, I don't really care what happened.
I think he was mad at how Carson Ligon was yelling at the Florida
Yeah,
State
that's
bullpen,
insane. Just because
or dugout.
you're down 1-0 in the second in a game that you don't even have to win to stay in.
Yeah.
Right.
So Ligon this is the replay. Ligon gets a strikeout, and he kind of chirps a little bit. And maybe he's mad about the swing call. I don't know.
He swung, so the player's not even contesting
Yeah,
that.
that's it. Ligon gets fired up, and he's yelling back at the batter in
Sure.
in the batter's box.
I don't know. Just, you can't let yourself get thrown out as a head coach.
I agree.
When you're in the driver's seat of a regional, that doesn't make any sense to me. So
Electric. Oh, do we want to talk about the while we're in commercial break? Do we want to talk about the Oregon play?
we can. That was another big thing from the weekend. If you want to, detail it out.
Oregon was, oh gosh, there goes my memory. I don't remember who they were playing. Freak. Oregon is
Utah Valley.
Yes, Utah Valley State. Anyway, Oregon is playing Utah Valley, and they are down by 1, and what would have been the tying run, rounds third. The throw beats him to the plate. The catcher misses it. He reaches up to grab it, thinks he has it, comes down to apply the tag after missing it, and the Oregon guy kind of goes in on his knees almost. He kind of goes in.
Very awkward slide.
Yeah. He didn't lower the shoulder, but he also didn't get horizontal in a sliding way. He just kind of went to his knees and then slid on his knees, kind of forearms in front of his chest to brace for impact. It's really odd. It goes to about a 15, 20-minute review. The umpires come out and rule the Oregon player out. He was called safe initially. They rule him out, and then they rule malicious contact at the plate and eject him for that game, and then the game today that they lost to be eliminated. So just a really weird situation. Me and Jack talked about it a good bit yesterday, I think. We both kind of agree that he should not have been ejected. It was not malicious contact, I don't think. The thing, I don't know what all the rules are. I don't know. I could not quote them. The way I would like to see it unfold is I do think that the ball beat him, and then he basically just doesn't really attempt to go around the runner or the catcher. He just kind of tries to go through him, and I think that should be out there, because I know the catcher didn't have the ball.
Yeah, the catcher's technically at fault. So
yes, but it's one of those things where the catcher and the runner both think the catcher has the ball, I feel like.
I also don't think. I think the runner at last minute does try to kind of make a move around. Now it was a pretty piss poor move to get around the
Yeah.
catcher. But regardless, the catcher isn't allowed to block the plate without the ball.
But
And so
what do
by rule,
Yeah.
I don't understand how you're calling him out there.
Yeah, I guess it's just weird because it was an error, so the catcher thought he did have.
Well, that's the catcher's fault for not
Yeah.
catching it.
Yeah,
In my
I know.
mind,
I get it.
Like I think straight up, it's terrible, insane to throw him out. It's pretty bad to call him out.
Yeah,
in general.
throwing him out was wrong. I don't mind him being called out, but
Like I get you're trying to be safe, but the whole thing about being safe is the catchers aren't allowed to block the plate without the ball, and so it goes both ways. If you don't want to get ran over, don't stand in the way without the ball. And if you have the ball, then we'll protect you as a catcher. But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's like on you basically to not be in the way at that point.
so that happened on.
And they lost by 1, and now
Yeah.
they've been sent home.
Yeah.
So that it really looms large.
Let's see what else is happening. Oh, Gary Fry in game 1 today had an absolute monster first 3 at bats. In his first 3 at bats, he had 3 singles and he saw 4 pitches.
I mean, it seems that y'all have the plate approach this series or this regional to stay aggressive. Even talking about first inning of this game,
Yeah.
when you hit a homer and the inning still ends in 7 pitches. I don't know if y'all. I don't really watch state baseball. I don't know if y'all are always this aggressive, or this is just kind of something y'all have tried to apply more so in this regional. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I do believe he's suspended for tomorrow. I feel like that would probably work like any player would as well. So
Yeah, let's get there, but that will be interesting to see how that unfolds.
yeah, if there is a tomorrow, I can't believe he does. Like that's kind of inexcusable for a head coach in my opinion to get tossed there
Yeah, I agree.
just because you get pissed that you're getting mouthed at by a guy that just struck you out. So
Do we have a timeline for how long I will sit here and watch baseball and just talk for forever? Do we have a timeline for how long we want to be here?
I mean, I personally don't want to sit.
Oh, I don't either. That's why I'm saying let's come up with a. Do we want to say 6? That's an hour and a half show. Honestly, I probably end the podcast on Spotify when we finish the NBA thing. It's gonna be like a 40-minute podcast.
Sure.
'Cause I feel like, actually no, because we talked about the Oregon thing and we kind of recapped the weekend. I'll leave it in there. It's fine. You can listen to us react to this baseball game as we watch it. Garrick Fry up again. Heck yeah.
I'm good. I'm good to end the live stream at 6.
Yeah, call it quits. Because
yeah.
we got some video games to play tonight, some stuff to do.
I want to eat dinner as well.
True.
Starting to get
true.
hungry. So
Oh, I forgot you didn't have we went to
Foundation Burger.
Foundation Burger in Flowwood. Come on. Oh, that's fair.
Tough play though.
Miss it. Dang. Good play by that third baseman. So yeah. Foundation Burger was fire. I got a 4-patty burger. JP, you still there?
I am.
You got thoughts on the Slade Offer being a Mississippi State legend? Like I said earlier, now that we're talking about baseball, he was responsible for a run that ended up winning us the game against Ole Miss. So how do we feel about that, given your criteria? If you beat Ole Miss, you're a Mississippi State legend.
Then he's a state legend.
All right, cool.
He
I was
doesn't
just-
feel like arguing it too much.
That's fine. I was just curious.
What more do I need? You made the point for me.
Yeah. All right, I was just checking.
I also think he's a legend in the sense of sure he wasn't the best here, but it's a name that's going to live in Mississippi
is.
State lore for a long time.
He's also, I think he's won us more games in a Georgia jersey than he did in a Mississippi State jersey.
It's very possibly true.
His the series where we had the 45-minute Birmingham review, I believe he won us 2 of those games. Dude, oh, this is the clip. I haven't seen the UCLA Tennessee clip. This is my first time seeing it.
Yeah, I haven't seen either. I'm excited to see.
Home run. How do you I still can't believe you miss home plate. Like, I know that there's a lot going on. Oh, that is tough. She got too excited for her fancy stomp. Too excited. Wow.
I'm not a college athlete, so I'm never in a position to make this kind of mistake, but I still can't really fathom making that kind of mistake.
Yeah. I'm sure the adrenaline of like hitting that though, I can't imagine what's
Well,
going
yeah,
through your brain.
yeah, that's true.
You just tied a College World Series game.
See, but also not. I mean, this sounds sorry, but like to say I've never experienced that adrenaline, like high school soccer was something that I got insanely pumped for every game, and even like playing rivals and stuff.
Yeah.
Like to me, there was just nothing more intense in the world than I played goalie. You know, being in a tie game with 5 minutes left and they're on the attack, like. I don't, and like, and my whole job in that moment is to stay like level-headed and be able to process and make plays. So, I understand high school soccer and college World Series softball is not the same thing externally, but to me, it felt like just as big of a deal as that would have.
Yeah. Let's see what else is happening in the world of sports.
I mean,
I'm going to go check on other baseball games besides this state game.
Well, Dallas Baptist just got eliminated, it seems.
Tough.
I've pulled into the.
We'll let you go
house
then, JP.
pool. Yeah, I will. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I'll be there in studio on Wednesday.
Huge.
Okay, bet.
Sounds good.
Cool. Thank
Yeah,
goodness.
I'll talk to y'all later tonight.
After our
Yep.
fiasco with the last Discord show, I am very glad to be in the studio as much as possible.
Excited to see you then, JP. Enjoy your couple days of work.
Yeah, y'all have a good one.
See you, JP.
I'll talk to y'all later
Yep.
tonight.
Dude, I need Georgia Tech to clutch up and beat Ole Miss, please. Let's go, Hunter. Let's go, Hunter. Hunter, okay, he is such a good... I don't know baseball super well, but watching Hunter Hines, I can see the difference between like an elite first baseman defensively and not.
Sure.
His, like, especially, I remember noticing it last year in the SEC tournament, he, like, got up on the wall at the base of the netting
Yeah.
and, like, got up on, leaned to the net, reached up and grabbed the ball. I mean, it was an insane play. He is so good defensively. It's so fun to watch. Makes you, as JP says, respect defense. Is that what he says? Right? Respect defense?
Celebrate defense.
Celebrate defense.
Celebrate defense. We can't get a JP quote wrong.
Yeah,
he'd call right back all of a sudden.
Yeah, literally. I would never
Shoot you out.
intentionally
Nah.
misquote JP.
Go Coastal Carolina. Those are my dogs.
UC Irvine, my anteaters.
See, I was privy to the Coastal Carolina fever before the year they won it.
Really?
The year before they won it because
Is
they
that
were
2013, 2015,
they won it in 2016.
16?
2016, 2017, 2016 it had to have been 2016. Because the year before they were in A&M's regional. So like I met some Coastal Carolina fans.
that's
I'd never
cool.
really heard of them. I was like, "What is a Chanticleer?" They were explaining it to me, and then the next year they go on their run, and I was very invested.
That's hype.
I was hoping they'd go all the way.
Me and Tucker were just talking in the chat about the Arkansas pop fly again. Oh, it's so beautiful.
It's beautiful and terrible at the same time.
Going from being unplayable to what he's been. Oh, wait, who's he talking about? Going from being. Oh, Slate. He's talking about Slate Alford. Yeah, he's. We were actually, me and Jack were discussing, because Jack said something about him versus Ace Reese, and I would much rather have Ace Reese on my team than Slate Alford, especially because youth. Ace is still. He just finished his sophomore year. Slate just finished his fourth year, I think. But Slate has had a very good season at Georgia this year. You said he had an OPS of over 1.
1 yeah.
Oh, maybe he's talking about Hunter Hines' defense. My bad.
Yeah, I kind of figured because
My bad.
Ron Washington says it. That's in Moneyball.
Oh,
When
okay.
Billy
okay.
Beanchy's like, "Oh, it's not that hard to play first base." Tell
Okay.
him, Ron, and he's like, "It's incredibly
Slade Alford
difficult."
was also almost unplayable for 2 years here
Yes.
at State. He was not good.
But
But yes, Hunter Hines, he's so fun to watch.
which shout out Ron Washington, longtime Atlanta Braves third base coach. Sadly, he has left us, and we dearly miss him. He's a character, and yeah, he was in Moneyball. He was the manager for the Rangers for a while, and I think he got busted for cocaine. So he had to take a step back. But now he's the Angels manager, so he's worked his way back up to the top. So shout out to him, which he's deserved. He's a great guy. I mean, obviously, can't do coke, but he's bounced back from it well.
Yep.
He deserves it.
Dude, this game, I'm going to be so nervous for the rest of this night, especially if this game stays close, which I hope it does. I hope we don't get blown out again. Stressful.
Surely not.
Oh, come on. Oh, no.
Yeah, you just.
Sorry. We get 2 the next time. Turn 2 the next time. We're good. Ligon has done a really good job so far. 50 pitches through 3 innings is and first and second with 1 out is not great. But I mean, he's still given up 0 runs so far. I don't know what. I mean, the dugout for this game, and then. So if you're coaching this game, are you don't care tomorrow? We're not playing tomorrow, right?
He has balls to the wall.
You just think we don't play tomorrow?
I'm throwing the kitchen sink at him.
Say empty the bullpen.
Yeah.
Let's win today.
The last thing you want to do is try and hold someone for tomorrow, just for there to be no tomorrow. Is my mindset.
Yeah.
Obviously, score does. Like if you're up 6,
Right.
I'm not gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna,
Gonna put in my best closer.
But it's not gonna take much for me to go back to throwing my top guys.
Good pitch. Yeah, I think that the analytical part of my brain, like I want to like try and be concerned, like I don't know, save some guys, because I guess in my brain I'm like, well, what's the point of getting to tomorrow if you think it's impossible to win?
Sure. But also, Florida State would like to win this game too. They're not.
True.
I mean, they're more likely to save guys, but it's not like they're taking their foot off.
Yeah. Because I mean, this is also their 3rd game in 3 days, so it's our 4th. Yeah. 4th
Yeah.
game.
Correct.
Also, I've been telling people wrong all weekend. I've been saying you had to win 3 games to get out of the regional. It's 4. I don't know how I did my math wrong.
It's all good.
But yeah, you got to win 4 games. So apologies to my mother. Well, technically, no. Florida State could win 3.
Yeah.
So it can be either 3 or 4. So I'm wrong again.
Yeah. State would have to win 4.
Good pitch. Carson kind of cooking. It's really fun watching a pitcher who, like Carson has been a starter all year, but like he hasn't been like super impressive.
Yeah.
And then guys just like go into this state where it's like, oh, this guy's just on it. Like Evan Sierra a couple weeks ago when he went 8 innings and I think didn't allow a run.
I don't think if he did allow one, it was just a single run, but I'm pretty sure he didn't allow any.
I mean, that was insane.
He was for sure feeling it. His pitch count is getting up there, which isn't the most ideal. But I mean, once again, you'll take scoreless innings over anything at this point, obviously. So
true. I don't know. In this situation, do you rethrow a guy you've already thrown, like a McPherson, or do you bring in like a Pruitt or a Sullivan?
I just don't know State's team well enough. So.
Okay, so do you bring in a midweek closer, or do you rethrow a weekend closer, or a weekend relief?
I mean, it depends team to team. Like some team actually has a pretty solid weekend closer. Like how is y'all's weekend closer like?
Our weekend bullpen.
Or sorry, is your midweek closer like?
Probably not.
Has he pitched on the weekend? Like, has he ever pitched a weekend?
Yeah. So we've had a couple guys play midweeks. Jacob Pruitt started midweeks and then has played, I think, some weekend relief. Simmons just played last game.
Yeah.
We've got a couple guys that are hurt right now, like Hungate, who I think I saw something saying he could be coming back. So we'll see about that. It'll be interesting.
Sure. Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on who the week. Like, I'd prefer to go to the weekend guys, obviously, but you've had a full season of sample size on how they pitch multiple times in a weekend and like how that goes. Like, I think about A&M last year had a guy named Evan Aschenbeck, and it was basically like we seemingly could throw him whenever he wanted, and the performance didn't really drop. But then we have a guy this year named Weston Moss, who's great, but when we try and kind of push him a little bit or get a little more out of him, he pretty quickly his performance drops.
Yeah.
And so it really just depends on who you have, how much you trust your guys. This is when you really got to trust Justin Parker to be able to push the right buttons.
Yeah.
And do what he can. And admittedly, not the best situation because any college team has limited arms. So
bases loaded, 1 out is 2 outs is a scary place to be.
Yeah, it's not great.
Especially we had 15 walks yesterday.
Y'all walked 15
we
guys?
walked 15 guys yesterday.
Excuse me.
That's
a little insane.
Yeah, it was a season record for us. Or not it was our season high, not a season record. I hope not.
That since 15 is ridiculous. In one game?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh.
Maybe it was 14. It was 14 at one point, but I believe I saw the updated
14 is still a lot, so.
Yeah, it's not a lot better. I say it like, oh, don't worry, it was only 14. All right. I say no matter how this next batter goes, it might be time to end the stream. And
we can let this half inning play out, unless you're just
No, that's what I'm saying. Depending on how this batter goes.
Well, if he hits a grand slam here, is it like stream's over?
Yeah. But if he gets out, it's also 6, so we can.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I'm saying no
half
matter
inning
how
can
the
wrap up.
batter goes.
Sure.
Well, if he hits maybe if we hit a 1-run single, I can stay not too frustrated for 5 more minutes.
Good pitch.
Dude, I don't understand. Baseball just like okay. Baseball, there's the meme about how when my football team that plays 16 games or 12 games loses 1. It's like, dang, that sucks. Me when my baseball team that plays 50 in college or 162 in the professional is like, what are we doing? Oh my, like you just lose it. I don't know. I think it's because baseball is like a much more like targeted, like you know when the moments are going to be. Like it's all about the pitch to the mound. Whereas in basketball, you just kind of have to like stay focused the entire time. If you want, oh no, oh we're good. Wow, thank you, shallow backstop.
Didn't roll far enough back. Yeah.
Because it's like you know what the moments that you have to
Yeah.
watch are going to be because it's the pitch. Whereas in basketball or football, you have to watch everything. I don't know,
Sure.
but I'm stressed out right now.
Do you think if he strikes this guy out, he's celebrating again, or he got told to not do that?
Dude, I don't know. He definitely is.
See, I can see a world where he does get tossed for celebrating again.
That'd be at 65 pitches though. That's kind of fire.
But surely you want him to go another inning, at least.
He just loaded the bases. I don't know that I do.
I mean, I'm saying if he gets out of this jam, right?
Yeah.
He's towards the back part of the order again. I mean, this is their 4-hole hitter.
Yeah.
He wanted that. Don't throw that again.
Okay, there's a part of me that's like we're near 70 pitches through 3 innings. We just loaded the bases. We did get out of it, but he did load the bases. If he gets thrown out and that kind of fires up the team, I'm kind of okay.
Sure.
I'm not too mad about it.
I don't know. Then you got to cover 6 innings with your bullpen that's already pitched a lot.
Yeah, true. Oh my word. That's the 3rd foul ball?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. 8th pitch of the at-bat. He still has a ball to give him. You just can't give him anything he can hit. 2-2. Come on. Oh no. Go foul, go foul, go foul, go foul, go foul, go foul, go foul. That's foul, right? That was foul, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely foul.
Okay.
Did not think that was going foul off the bat, not going to lie.
No, I
And
did not
then-
either.
and
It was a
then-
good swing.
Yeah, and then he was just out in front of it. But then you kind of tell from the batter that the batter was not.
Yeah.
There's no immediate celebration from the batter.
Dude, what do you think Carson's thinking right now? Well, not the clean version.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Thank
that was-
goodness is the clean.
Yeah,
version.
thank goodness. Oh my goodness. Do I have any comments on the announcer crew this weekend? That
Good
is
take.
game 1 I listened to and my jaw dropped how loud they were.
So they're just screaming in your ears. I think I heard about
Yes.
this. It's not like they're like bad at their job.
No, they are also
Okay.
not great at their job. And then I was listening to the game 1 of today driving up from Jackson. Get him. Oh no. Yes. Let's go.
Shift comes through.
Let's go. Okay. I'll do my quick bit about the announcers and then we will call it this live stream. I don't think they're great at their jobs in my opinion, just from like, and maybe they're also new.
To cut them some slack, you typically don't get this level of coverage of
Correct.
college baseball.
Correct.
Like they're
Like-
not really meant to do this.
Correct. Basically one of the things like I was watching and they were talking about how they're like, you're going to bunt this guy over to second, play some small ball because you got Reed Stallman coming up. Reed Stallman's had it this kind of day. He's had seen some really good pitches, had some good swings, kept talking about him. And then the other guy goes, and Nolan Steven is on deck because we had a defensive substitution last inning. And I was just like,
It's tough.
come on, guys. Like, come on. So just like little things, I feel like they might be a little inexperienced. But yeah, I also do think that they've been a little loud and obnoxious to the point where one of our media guys, Robbie Falk on Twitter, said that he was walking past the press box and heard like yelling, or the TV booth, and heard like yelling and screaming. I was like, what is happening? And then it turns out it was them. So
That's nice.
they're a little much, but yeah, we'll call it there. I'm gonna go watch the rest of this baseball game.
Cool.
Um,
I can close this.
awesome.
Thanks as always for tuning in. Shout out Tucker, hanging out, talking with Sanders, keeping him company while we were talking basketball.
Literally, it was just me and
Um,
Tucker talking about baseball.
But yeah, if you've made it this far, thanks as always for tuning in, and we'll be back for y'all Wednesday live once again. Hopefully see y'all then. Peace.
See ya.